So there are two kinds of boundaries. We have the external boundary, which is the physical boundary, the space we want around ourselves physically, whether we want to be touched, how we want to be touched, if we want to be touched at all. And then we have the internal boundary, which is our thoughts and our emotions. And that has two different components. It's what comes out of me and what I let in. Hi, you guys. I'm Sharzad Morgan, escort, life coach, and porn model at Just for Fans under a stage name. This boundary talk is super important because it's part of adulting and it's something that we're not really taught and that I'm learning more about lately because we're grown up as children. We're not allowed to have boundaries as children. I mean, did your parents ever ask you, do you ask your kids, you know, how do you feel about me talking to you? What are your needs? What are your wants? What are your desires? Children kind of have to learn the rules of the world. But as adults, we get to pick up a whole set of skills that we didn't have as children, including the ability to work, earn money, make our own decisions, and have boundaries. So this is part of adulting. For example, if you've ever gone to like snuggle parties where you learn nonviolent communication, you really learn about asking people for permission before you touch them or before you hug someone. You kind of want to see if they even want a hug. But the internal boundaries can be a lot more difficult. People tend to either repress their emotions or express them in a negative way, or maybe they have like walls up, a wall of anger, a wall of silence, and all these other distorted ways of being. So what does a healthy internal boundary look like? It means that before I speak, I am coming from a calm, grounded place. So I'm not coming from an angry place. I'm not coming from a disconnected place. I have to learn to kind of calm myself down. So I'm speaking to you in a way that's effective, empowering, and respectful, because that's who I want to be. And because the way I show up and the way I speak to you, it's going to have an impact on our relationship. And if I'm coming from a reactive place, then you're going to react. So an internal boundary has to do with me using my voice assertively from a loving place, that what comes out of me is kind and loving. Going out, but coming in, it has to do with listening and how I listen. This is the part I struggle with a lot. Well, first of all, the reactivity. I've worked on my reactivity for the last 5 years, and I've gotten so much better. So it's a practice. And I wasn't super reactive. Like, I wouldn't get like super angry, but I would get angry at things that I didn't want to get angry about. And so I made it kind of a mission for myself to learn how to not get triggered. And that requires an awareness of realizing I'm triggered and I'm angry right now. So I'm not going to respond to this person. I'm not going to reply to this email. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to take a moment to calm down, because I've learned that when I come from a calm place, I'm much more effective in kind of getting rid of the thing that aggravated me in the first place without getting everybody all reactive. On the stuff coming in, I had a really hard time, especially with comments people left on my YouTube channel or emails I would get from guys saying like, hey, beautiful, can I see you? Just like silly things would just set me off. And for the stuff coming in, you get to choose what comes in. A really good practice for that is to imagine that you are like in a bubble. You're in a bubble. You're totally protected in this bubble. And so people can say what they want, but you don't have to take any of it in. So just imagine yourself like being this very calm inner place right now, and imagine just like a big bubble of light, or even like a bubble like you blow, like little kids blow around you, so you can see through it, but it's protecting you. And you do not have to let anything in that anyone says. Anything anyone says to you just stays on the outside of this bubble. And you get to decide what comes in. You get to decide what you let in. And what that does, it lets you be more effective in communicating with people, because you can choose to let in the parts that are meaningful only, or the parts that apply to you. You don't have to let everything in. You get to choose what comes in. I want to say something else about relationships. I think a lot of times people play it safe because they don't have this, they're not in this bubble. And so they're in this mode of like repressing things and walking around angry or lashing out or withdrawing, the wall of silence, the wall of anger, or the things I dare never say in this relationship because this person may no longer like me. The boundaries are crucial here, because when you're solid in yourself, then you're not worried. You don't have to lash out at people. You don't have to withdraw, go silent, or go angry. And you don't have to try to change someone or please someone, because you're happy in your bubble of light, or your soap bubble. And so you're free to be yourself. You don't have to please someone else, be worried about what they might think or not think. Take responsibility for their feelings or their ability to handle it. So this is going to take practice, you guys. It's going to seem scary, but any kind of thing that is moving us forward is going to be scary because it's new. So I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to suggest you try a couple things. You imagine yourself in your safe bubble. And from that safe bubble, you're going to ask for something that you want or need or desire from a friend or a partner or a family member. Someone where you're taking a risk. You're going to start taking risks, you guys. You're going to start taking risks. That's what I want you to do. And ask for something that you want, need, or desire. And if you notice it's hard, just imagine yourself in the safe bubble. And the second thing I'd like you to do is say something that you don't like. A lot, that can be hard. I can't tell you what I don't like because you can't handle it, or you might get angry, or you might leave me, or you might retaliate. So from that safe bubble, it could look like this. I don't like it when you, like I used it this morning on a guy I met online. He said, "Hi, sexy, how's your evening going?" And I said, I don't like when guys address me as sexy or beautiful. I have a name. And that was me expressing what I liked. And to be honest, I thought I might offend him, he might not be able to handle it, especially because, maybe I shouldn't say this, he's a black guy. And I thought, well, black people have it really hard. Maybe he'll be offended. But I'm like, I have to treat him the same way. I would have said to a white guy, I would have gone off a lot harder. Like that, I wouldn't have hesitated. So when I'm hesitating, I'm like, I have a right to say what I don't like. So start saying that I don't like. And he came right back and apologized and called me by my name, Another thing, and then I'm just using the same example. He didn't have a profile, so I said, I would like to know a few things about you before we continue this conversation. And he might not like it, so I felt a little scared doing all this. Am I going to offend this guy? It's not even about him. It's just me having a new way of being. But if you're in a relationship with someone, you might have a lot more at risk. But then you get to choose, do you want to be in a relationship where you trap yourself into these walls? Or do you want to be open to life and in your aliveness? And so we have to have a place of safety. Like, my home is my physical safety. In my home, everything has to be kind and loving. There is no meanness allowed. And we can have that same in our relationship. So in our boundaries is to just put yourself in a safe bubble of light or love. And from that place, you can ask for what you want and say what you don't like. And guys, this is the way you keep passion in your relationship. The reason that people lose passion is because they get in this freaking comfort zone of doing everything the same and being everything familiar. And if you lost the passion, you can only blame yourself. Because to get the passion back, you have to step out of your comfort zone, and you can remain safe in your bubble, and you start challenging your friends or your partners by asking for something that you want, even sexually, you know. I'm not going to give any examples because guys will just masturbate to this, but say something that you don't like. Admit it if you've been faking your orgasms. Tell your partner a different position you'd like to try, or more closeness or intimacy that you want, or a fantasy that you have. It's in taking the risks that we feel our aliveness and get excited about life. And the passion that you had at the beginning of your relationship was there because everything was new. And the way you make things new now is by taking risks. Emotional risks, mental risks. That's my tip. So adulting, to summarize, adulting requires us to have boundaries so that we can speak from love and let in love, and let ourselves also be influenced by the people who care about us, so that these people can influence us. And I don't have to get defensive when I have my boundary in place, my bubble, my safety bubble. I can listen to what you have to say and think, maybe this is something that would be useful. Final thing I want to say is to be relational, is that relationships aren't about being right. It's about staying connected and caring how the other person feels, and keeping a positive energy going and an authentic energy going. So all these discussions about who said what are irrelevant. It's like, how do you really feel? What can I do to support you? And that both people in the relationship can take turns kind of calming the other person down when that person's upset. We all have to take responsibility for our emotions, and the boundaries are a really powerful place to start when you're getting triggered. Okay? So just remember, your emotions are yours. Do not make your partner responsible for your emotions, yet speak up and let them know how you're feeling. You know, right now, I feel like I need your approval. Right now, I feel abandoned. You know, just be willing to say all those things. So I hope you guys have liked this video. If you want to work with me, just send me, get in touch with me at the Treasure Within Coaching. Thank you for watching my video, and I'm here parked at Mission Bay Park. I just finished my Pilates, so making this little quick video before I head on to my next place where I'm going. Thanks for watching my video. You guys have a wonderful Tuesday.